Okay, let's start with exercise 3.1, which is function of two or more variables. Okay. I hope everyone has already watched the videos and do the exercise, okay? So that you may understand this class better. So you have xy square minus y multiplied with x square plus 12 square root. Okay, so question A asks you to find f22. So basically, this is where you substitute the value of x equals to 2 and y equals to 2 as well. Okay, so this is x, this is y. So I think there will be no problem in this one. So 8 minus 8, the answer is 0. The same goes with B, which is f negative 1, 7 now. So the x is negative 1, the 7 is y. Okay, so you may try, just use your calculator. The answer is negative 74.2389. So I don't think there would be a problem here. So move into question number 2. Question number 2 is about domain, the domain of F. So I received so many questions about domain before this in chapter 2. So let's look into 2a first. So this is a rational function. So in rational function, the denominator, whatever value in the denominator, it cannot be equal to 0. Because when you have anything over 0, then the function will be undefined. Okay, so we want to take a value of domain. So this is, like, if you have x and y, okay, the value of x is what we call domain. The value of x that makes your function y defined. So the y is range. The answer is what we call range. Okay, so in here 3x plus y cannot be equal to 0, because if it's equals to 0, then your function fxy is undefined. Okay, so this is what we call domain. So if you write in terms of domain, means now your variable, there are two variables, x and y, not x only or y only, but x and y. So x and y, the domain is x and y in which the 3x plus y cannot be equal to 0. That's it. You may write it like this. Okay. Let's look into B. Square root. Okay, so the easiest way to determine domain is to determine the range in between negative, 0, and positive. Okay, what I mean is, let's say polynomial. So in polynomial, if you have x to the power of n, any value of x can be defined. If the x is positive, if the x is negative, your function is defined. If the x is 0, your function is also defined. And if your x is positive, then your function is defined. So if your functions defined on negative, 0, and positive, this is the domains will be negative infinity until infinity. Okay. And then let's look into exponent, because we have exponent here. Okay, how do you know either your function is defined or undefined? You can use calculator actually. Okay, you can calculate exponent negative 1, for example. So you have a value. Okay, there is no math error. Undefined function will give you math error in the calculator. Okay, so exponent negative, there is exponent negative, there is exponent 0, there is exponent positive as well. Okay, However, we have the square root there, which is this one. Okay, so for square root, if it's square root negative, then our function is undefined. Okay, if it's square root 0, then our function is defined because square root 0 is equal to 0. If it's square root positive, then our function still defined. Okay, so if it's only defined in these two domain, okay, means it is greater than or equals to 0, including 0. That's why we have equals to. Okay, means that whatever the argument here in our square root, it is must be greater than or equals to 0. So we have 1 minus x plus y greater than or equals to 0. So this is our domain. Okay, so to write in terms of domain, again, the domain of f is the value of xy in which 1 minus x plus y must be greater than or equals to 0. That's it. Okay, now let's look into ln x plus 2y. Okay, so if it's ln, when you try for negative, your ln is undefined. When you try for 0, your ln also undefined. When you try for positive, then it is defined. So when your domain is only this one, then we say it is greater than 0, not included 0, greater than 0 only. Okay, so the argument is x plus 2y greater than 0. That's it. Okay, lastly, D. So again, it is square root, right? So 9 minus y squared must be greater than or equals to 0, included 0. Okay, however, the y is in the power of 2, in square form. Now we want to find how about only y, the variables only. So we have 9 greater than or equals to y squared, or y squared less than or equals to 9. So when you want to open these inequality, when it is less than or equals to 9, it will be negative 9, sorry. This part will be negative square root 9 less than equals to y less than equals to square root 9. Okay, so it will be negative 3 less than equals to y less than equals to 3. So this is your answer. Okay, remember when you open these inequalities, when it is less than equals to, dia akan jadi sebelah tu negatif, sebelah tu positif kan. Okay, tapi kalau bila you buka lebih besar, dia akan jadi satu tu lebih besar positif, satu tu lebih kecil negatif. Okay, so that one is inequality dalam basic maths. Okay, so you have, if you don't know about that, you have to look back. Okay, let's see. Kalau awak buka, ini yang merah ni means it's not the correct one. Dah buat macam ni, and then you buat saja y greater than equals to tambah tolak punca kuasa 9. Okay, you tak buat inequalities punya sign ya. So it will be less than equals to 3. So when you open the bracket, because you have two values here, the first one is the like this, and the second one is greater than equals to negative 3. Okay, so this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. This one is the same as this one, okay? But then this one is the wrong one. Why? You have y less than equals to negative 3. Let's say I choose y equals to negative 4, because negative 4 is less than negative 3, right? Okay, and then I substitute this y equals to negative 4 into my f. Then I will have 9 minus negative 4 square root, which is 9 minus 16 square root, which is a negative value of a square root. So it become undefined. So this whole thing is incorrect lah. Okay, don't do like this. Okay, let's see the sketch of graph. Question number 3. So sketching for 3D, this is all 3D because you have x, y, and z, right? A function of two variables. Now you have x and y. So the sketching in 3D, we have already seen it in chapter 1, which is the quadratic surfaces. Okay, so if you have z equals to fxy equals to, this is a, negative 2, for example. So the negative 2 is on your z, negative 2. And then there are no x, there are no y. So what this is what we call x and y arbitraries. So you can text any value of x and it can text any value of y. Okay, so you buatlah garis yang parallel to x and parallel to y axis. So you have a plane actually. So this is actually a plane on z equals to negative 2. Okay, the same goes with b. I think I don't have to repeat this again. Okay, fxy equals to 4 minus y. So 4 minus y is also plane. Okay, there are no x, right? No x. So the plane will be along x-axis. You may try. Okay, C will be a plane also, but since the x is there, the y is there, the z also there, so it won't be along any axis. However, it will cut the axis, x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis on certain coordinate. You have to find the coordinate first, okay? D is actually half of surface because it is a square root, right? So z equals to 9 minus x squared minus y squared. So half of surface. Which half? Then you have to square first. So we'll have z squared equals to 9 minus x squared minus y squared. So if we arrange the equation, I will have x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals to 9. So the whole surface is actually a sphere. So means this must be a hemisphere. Okay, which half? You look back into the axis. So this is z and then the square root is positive. So it is on the z axis positive. Something like this, okay? And the radius is equals to 3. Why 3? Because you have 9, right? 9 here. So square root 9 will be 3. And lastly, E. Okay, so this is what we call paraboloid. Okay, because z equals to x square, then you have a parabola senyum tu. Z equals to y square, also you have a parabola senyum menghala pada z. Okay, this one only the radius of the circle. The radius of the circle yang ini lah, yang ini. Okay, so you don't have to show that one lah. Okay, so that's it for exercise 3.1. So mainly in exercise 3.1, in chapter 3.1, you have to understand the function of more than one variable. Okay, you have to understand the function of more than one variable, which is, it can be xy, it can be xyz, depends. Let's move into 3.2, which is the partial derivative. Okay, what is partial derivative? Partial derivative is a differentiation of a function with more than one variable. Okay, sekarang kita ada lebih daripada satu variable. Differentiation of more than one variable in which if you differentiate with respect to one variable, all the other variables will be treated as constant. Okay, sebelum ni you ada y equals to fx saja. Cuma ada satu variable saja kat sini. This is what you call function, function y. Okay, so bila you nak bezakan dy dx, you fully beza f prime x. Tapi sekarang we have fxy equals to, sorry, z equals to fxy. Okay, so when I want to differentiate z with respect to x, del z del x, okay, I will differentiate f with respect to x only. How about y? So y treated as constant. Okay, the same with y. Then your x will be constant. Okay, so that is partial derivative. Let's look into question 2a. fxy equals to fxy equals to x minus 4y to the power of 6. So the question asks you to find first partial derivative, mean find the fx and then find the fy. Because you have two variables, x and y, so find the fx and find the fy as well. So when you want to find x, y constant, okay, so your x is here inside the bracket. However, before you differentiate x, you have to differentiate the power of polynomial. How do you differentiate power? So if you have y equals to, if you have x equals to n, okay, differentiate power will be x n minus 1, right? Okay, so now the 6 will be in front minus x plus 1, and then 6 minus 1 will be 5. Okay, then you multiply, you differentiate the x minus 4y with respect to x only. Okay, so differentiate x will be 1, differentiate 4y will be 0. Okay, not 4, will be 0. Why? Because the 4y is constant. Remember here, the y is constant. Okay, so then you will have 6x minus 4y to the power of 5. Okay, the same for fy. Now differentiate the power first. 6x minus 4y to the power of 5. Okay, multiply, differentiate the bracket with respect to y. So the x will be 0, the 4y will be negative 4. So you actually can multiply this 6 and negative 4. It will become negative 24 x minus 4y to the power of 5. Okay, that's your answer. Okay, you may try for 2b. So for 2b, there are some correction. Please get this answer. 2x plus 3y to the power 3, negative 1 over 2. And then the fy should be 9y squared over 2, 2x minus 3y squared, negative 1 over 2. Okay, this is the answer for 2b. You may try it. Basically, it is the same as in A because you have bracket there. So make sure you differentiate the power first and then you differentiate whatever in the bracket respect to the variable. If x, x. If y, y, then x is constant. If fx, then y is constant. Okay, and vice versa. Okay, let's look into 2c. Two x minus y over x plus 3y. Let's say I want to differentiate respect to x. Okay, I want to differentiate respect to x. I have x in the numerator and I have x in the denominator as well. Therefore, I have to use quotient rule. Okay, sebab atas tu ada x, bawah tu pun ada x. So you have to use quotient rule. So remember the formula for quotient rule. If you have u v, you want to differentiate u v, then it will be v u prime minus u v prime over v squared. Okay. So let's say I choose my u equals to 2x minus y. Then your v must be the denominator, which is x plus 3y. Okay, if you want to find fx, then this one also you have to differentiate respect to x. Okay, so differentiate respect to x, I will have 2, the y will be 0. This one I will have 1, the 3y will be 0 as well. Okay, sebab y tu constant bila differentiate x, y tu constant. Itu saja untuk partial derivative actually. Okay, if you can put in your minds that whenever you want to differentiate one variables, all the other variables will be treated as constant, then you won't have problem in doing this partial derivative. Therefore, my fx will be v u prime minus v u v prime. Okay, v prime is actually the prime means the differentiation. Okay, so x plus 3y times 2 minus 2x minus y times 1 over v squared. V squared is x plus 3y squared. Okay, so simplify whichever you can simplify. Okay, so this is your fx. So for fy, do the same technique. Your u will still be 2x minus y. Your v must be x plus 3y. Okay, however, if you want to find fy, your u must be differentiated with respect to y as well. Okay, so differentiate u with respect to y, I will have negative 1. Vy will be 3. Vu prime minus u v prime equals to v squared. So this negative 3 and positive 3 can be cut out. So what's left is negative 7x over x plus 3y squared. Okay. So in partial derivative, you still have to understand about, you still have to use product rule, quotient rule, and later we will look into chain rule. Okay. Dia masih juga sama. The difference is differentiating one variable, the other will be treated as constant. If you have problems, you may stop me at any time. Kalau ada yang rasa tak faham, boleh tanya. Okay, let's look into 2D. So now we have a multiplication of two functions. The one is exponent, the other one is trigo, which is sine 2x. However, the exponent has only y variable and the trigo, the sine, only have x variable. So there will be no product rule here. Okay? Because when you want to differentiate x, then the y will be constant. When you want to differentiate y, the exponent y, the sine 2x will be constant. Okay, so I have to differentiate when you need to use the product rule, the quotient rule. Okay. Okay, see, I want to differentiate with respect to x. So y is constant. So saya tulis siap-siap. I just write down everything regarding y. Okay. Then I will only differentiate the 2x. Remember, you want to differentiate the 2x. However, the 2x attached to sine. So before differentiating 2x, you have to differentiate the sine. Okay, beza sine dapat cos. And then you multiply, you differentiate the 2x, which will be 2. Okay, so this one actually can be multiplied to the front, which is 6 exponent y to the power of 2 cos 2x. Okay, that will be your answer. Okay, the red one. Remember, this one cannot be multiplied with this. Okay, it cannot become cos 4x suddenly. No. Okay, whatever argument in your trig, if it's 2x, then it will be 2x until the end. Okay, unless you do identity operations to it. Okay, other than identity operations like operations multiplication, differentiation, multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division, it won't do anything to your 2x. Dia takkan jadi apa-apa. 2x akan jadi 2x lah sampai habis. Okay, kecuali kalau awak buat identity operation saja. Faham ya? Okay, now Fy. If I want to differentiate with respect to Fy, differentiate with respect to y, now the x will be constant. So x attached with sign kan. So everything sin 2x is constant. You tulislah siap-siap because it's only constant. Okay, dia takkan berubah. Now we want to differentiate the exponent because y is only on the exponent. So exponent y kuasa 2, exponent y kuasa 2 lah juga. Okay, if you want to differentiate exponent, it will be exponent back, right? Differentiate exponent x will be exponent x. The exponent will be exponent itself. Okay, differentiate exponent ax, then it will be a exponent ax. Kat mana a ni datang? A ni bila awak bezakan yang ax tu tadi. So sama lah juga. You multiply, you differentiate the y to the power of 2, you will get 2y. Okay, so everything will be the 2 can be multiplied with 3, so 6y exponent y to the power of 2 sine 2x. Okay, so maybe some of you ask, why is it in here the exponent, the y or the x, okay, did not become 0? Sebab dia constant, kenapa dia tak jadi kosong? Okay, so let's look into the pattern here. D over dx, let's say you have a constant of 5, and d over dx, you have a constant of 5x. If you want to differentiate 5 only, then it will be 0. However, if you want to differentiate 5x, it will be 5. Now, let's treat this 5 as your y. If you want to differentiate y with respect to x, you will get 0. However, if you want to differentiate yx with respect to y, you will get, with respect to x, you will get y. Okay, why? Because the y is attached to the variable that you want to differentiate. Tapi y ke atas ni, dia stand alone. Dia tak ada attached to the variable. So, it's become constant. When you differentiate, it will be 0. So if you look into the example before, ni kan yang ini attached. So the y will still be there, the x will still be there. Okay, this one stand alone. The x stand alone, the y stand alone. So whenever you want to differentiate x, the y will be 0. Whenever you want to differentiate y, the x will be 0. Okay, and this one as well. The x stand alone, the y also stand alone. Okay, so you differentiate this one with respect to x, the y will be 0. Okay, when you want to differentiate with respect to y, the x will be 0. Okay, because it's stand alone. And so on lah. Faham eh? So I have to treat your variable now as a constant. So how do you differentiate constant? That will be how you differentiate your variable. Okay, the 2e, I think you can try for yourself, okay? Because the 2e is actually a square root in which the square root can be denoted as the power of 1 over 2. Okay, so you may try here. Okay, so up until now, do you have any questions?
No, madam.
All right, thank you. so let's proceed with question number 3. The question is to find the slope of the surfaces z equals to fxy in the x direction and in the y direction at the point of 2, 1. So actually, the derivative itself, the derivative, the dy dx itself is a slope, right? Dia adalah kecerunan, okay? Okay, let me finish question number 3 first. Okay, so this is z. Z equals to 2x squared plus 8y. fxy is equals to z. So when the question asks you to find the slope of the surface z in the x direction, means the question asks you to find del z, del x. Okay, and if the question asks you to find del z, del slope in the y direction, it means del z, del y. So let me show one of it. The other one you can try. Katalah kita buat del z, del x. So 1 over 2, 2x squared plus 8y, negative 1 over 2. So I solve the power first. Okay, power sahaja dulu. So power dia bawa ke bawah, bawa ke depan, and then kuasakan tolak 1. And then you multiply, differentiate with respect to x. The bracket respect to x. So 2x squared will be 4x, the 8y will be 0. Okay, y 0 because it's only standalone, y sahaja. So bila nak bezakan terhadap x, y2, everything will be constant. So this is actually 2x over 2x squared plus y, like this lah. Okay. So now you substitute the value when you want to find del z, del x. 2, 1. The 2 is x, the 1 is y. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. 8 plus 8 is 16. Square root 16 is so 4 over 4, which is 1. So this is the answer for del z, del x. So please find del z, del y. You may try it by yourself, okay? Okay, actually, your question, Rafi, you said like exponent x cos 2x, right? This is a function of one variable. There are no y. Okay, so it will be as usual, in which you have to use product rule. Macam biasa. The function of two variables consists of more than one variable, means you have x and y. Kalau you tadi ada exponent y cos 2x, dia still tak ada product rule. Sebab yang ini y sahaja, yang ini x sahaja. Tapi katalah exponent xy cos 2x. Okay. When you want to differentiate respect to x, then you have to use product rule. Kenapa? Sebab kat sini ada x, dekat sini pun ada x. But then if you want to differentiate respect to y, you don't have to use product rule. Okay? You buat macam biasa. Regular, okay? Because you don't have no product rule lah, you don't have to use product rule. Because the cos to x is constant. So strictly will be cos to x as well lah. Not 0 because it attached. So you only differentiate the exponent xy with respect to y. Faham So kena tahulah bila kena guna product rule, bila tak perlu guna product rule. Okay, now we are in question 4. Question number 4 is a higher derivative. Okay, so let's say I choose the fxy. You may try the fxx yourself. The first one, you have to differentiate respect to x. This is the first. Okay, first differentiation. And then you have to differentiate your answer of fx with respect to y. This is the second differentiation. So before you want to find fxy, you have to find fx first. Okay, so find fx, your y is constant. So 4y kuasa 2 ni constant. Tulis siap-siap. Dia takkan jadi kosong sebab dia ada x kat situ. Okay, differentiate x will get 1. And then the 3y is constant, no x, so it will be 0. Okay, the 2x squared, the minus 2x squared will be negative 4x. Okay, so you have 4y squared minus 4x. This is your fx. Now when you want to proceed with your fxy, use this function, not the original function. Okay, you have to follow the order. Kena follow order dia, fxy, then ambil daripada fx. Bezakan terhadap y pula. Now we want to differentiate with respect to y. Okay, you look into this one only. Respect to y, x constant. So 4y kuasa 2 dapatlah 8y. The negative 4x is constant, so 0. So your answer is 8y. Okay, you may try for fxx. I hope by now you already understand the differentiation. Okay, the technique of differentiation, that is very crucial in this topic. Okay, let's say fxx means you differentiate fx, your differentiate fx, okay, this one, okay, and then you differentiate this one with respect to x again. So the y is constant. Okay, so 4y squared will be 0. The negative 4x will be negative 4. So this is actually your answer, even though I asked you to try. Okay, sama saja. Untuk kalau fyy, you kena bezakan fy dahulu and then bezakan sekali lagi terhadap y. So for this one, fyx, so I have to solve fy first. Okay, so my fy is differentiate the f with respect to y, treat x as constant. You ambil daripada sini Okay, so 5x kuasa 2 ni constant. Tulis siap-siap. Kita bezakan y kuasa 5. Beza y kuasa 5, you akan dapat 5y kuasa 4. Tambah. Okay, you bezakan x, exponent xy. X tu constant, so tulis siap-siap. Now we want to differentiate the exponent xy only. Ingat lagi, differentiate exponent will get exponent. Exponent saja as well. Okay, now you differentiate the power of the exponent, the xy. Differentiate the power of the exponent xy with respect to y. So x tu constant kan? So tulis x siap-siap, bezakan y dapatlah 1. So ini sahaja jawapan awak. Okay, and then this one can be multiply with this one. Ini pun semua sama, tak boleh darab saja. Okay. Now we proceed with the question asks you to find fyx. Fyx. Okay, so you take your function from here now. Bukan daripada asal Bezakan terhadap x, y constant. So 25y kuasa 4 tu constant, tulis siap-siap. Okay. Sebab kalau awak tak tulis nanti awak terlupa. Sebab kita nak bezakan x saja sekarang. So x square will be 2x plus, okay, this one you tak boleh nak tulis exponent xy tu siap-siap. Kenapa? Sebab yang ini ada X, yang ini pun ada X. The first X is polynomial, X square. The second X is exponent XY. So this is where you have to use apa dia? Product rule. Faham Sebab dua-dua ada X. Sekarang kita nak bezakan terhadap X and then both have different function of X. Polynomial multiply with exponent. Okay, so you kena buat lah. Product rule U V prime tambah V U prime. Okay, saya bezakan eksponen dahulu. Beza eksponen dapat eksponen. Darab bezakan XY terhadap X. So Y tu yang constant. Keluar Y And then tambah bezakan X kuasa 2 pula akan dapat 2X. So you darab lah mana yang you boleh darab This is your answer. Okay, you may try to find fxy now. Okay, remember when you find fxy, if your function is a continuous function, your fxy will be equal to your fyx. So basically, the answer for fxy later must be the same as this fyx. Okay. Soalan nombor 6 ni pun sama. Okay, let me solve one. Now you have three variables, X, Y, and Z. Okay, let me solve the D squared W B. You may try A. Let me solve B. Okay, sama saja. So the B is del squared W over dx squared. So this is actually del over del X, del W over del X. Sebab tu D kuasa 2 W, dx kuasa 2. Okay, the first one, the squared W del X del Y is actually del over del X, del W over del Y. So you have to do this bracket first. So this is actually vice versa from yang atas tu kan. Sebab kalau atas tu saya tulis fxy, saya kena buat yang depan dulu. Tapi kalau saya buat dalam bentuk kurungan ni, saya kena buat yang belakang dulu. Faham So this is the second. So it is only a matter of notation, different notation. Okay, so you have to know how you have to know how to differentiate the different notation Kena buat mana dulu, kena buat mana kemudian, because kalau you tak ikut order, if you don't follow the order, your answer might be wrong lah. Okay. So I differentiate respect to X first. So my X is here in the cos. Before I differentiate the X, I will have to differentiate the cos, which is negative sign XYZ. Okay, remember now we have two variables treated as constant, which is Y and Z. Bukan saja satu tapi ada dua constant sekarang ni. Okay, so multiply, differentiate the XYZ with respect to X. So the YZ is constant. Okay, so tulis siap-siap. Bezakan X dapatlah 1. So dapat macam ni lah. Okay. Plus, differentiate the Y to the power of 3. Multiply with Z to the power of 4 with respect to X. Okay, with respect to X. Tetapi Y kuasa 3 dan Z kuasa 4 tu, dua-dua adalah constant. So strictly 0. Okay, they are not attached to a variable X, so you don't have to you don't have to write down the variables back because they are not attached to X. Only when they are attached to X, then you have to write down the variables. Okay, and then the exponent YZ also, there are no X, right? There are y and z only. So the exponent yz, everything is constant. So again, 0. So what you have is only this one. Okay, that one is differential respect to x. Now the question one, del squared w over del x squared, means I have to differentiate again respect to x. The negative yz sine xyz, again respect to x. Okay. So again, the x only on the sign. So negative yz is constant. Okay, tulis siap-siap. Okay. Before you differentiate x, you have to differentiate sign because x attached to the function sign. Okay, beza sign akan dapat cos. Then, bezakan x, y, z. Okay, differentiate the x, y, z respect to x. Okay, sini kan x kan. Okay, respect to x, so the y, z will be constant. So tulislah siap-siap. Differentiate x will be 1. So this is your answer. So ini boleh darab. So this is your answer. Okay, so let's look into question 7 and 8. You may try for 7, okay? I will show you 8. However, the 7, question number 7 will be similar to question number 8 on how to solve it, okay? The volume V of a certain gas is related to its temperature T and its pressure P by the gas law PV equals to KT. Okay, this is the function PV equals to KT, where K is a constant of proportionality. Suppose that V is measured in cubic inches, P is in pounds per square inch, and T in degrees Kelvin, and that for certain gas, the constant of proportionality is K equals to 2. So substitute the K equals to 2. This is actually your function now. Find the rate of change of pressure. Okay, question A wants us to find the rate of change of pressure with respect to temperature. So del P over del T. If the temperature T is equals to 80 and volume remains fixed at 40. Okay. And then the question B asks us to find the rate of change of volume pula, dV over respect to pressure, dP, if volume is 40 and temperature now remains at 80. Okay, so we have a question number A. For A, we have PV equals to 2T. So if I want to differentiate P, my V when I bring to right hand side, it will be 2T over V. Okay, therefore, del P over del T means I want to differentiate T and my V is constant. So the constant 1 over V tu 1 over V lah, or 2 over V actually. Okay, so bezakan T akan dapat 1. So this is actually 2 over V. Now when you want to substitute the value of T equals to 80, V equals to 40, so it is actually this one, 1 over 20. The pressure is measured by pounds per square inch. Pound per square inch. And then the temperature per Kelvin again. Okay. Question B asks us to find dVdP now. So since it asks us to find dVdP, so we set V as our subject. So 2T over P. So dVdP means the 2T is constant. So this is actually 2Tp to the power of -1, right? So negative 1p to the power of negative 2, which is 2t over negative 2t over p squared. Okay, so the t is constant now. Okay, so what's the value given? The value given is v equals to 40, t equals to 80. So negative 280 over, there are no p, only given v and t. Okay, never mind. We will find p from the equation itself. Okay, so here p is equals to, when your t is 80, when your v is 40, so p will be 4. Okay, so 160. So negative 160 over 4 squared, which is negative 160 over 16. So you have negative 10. Okay, and we're going to proceed with 3.3. Exercise 3.3, the last for today. Okay, for the chain rule, the main thing is to know about tree diagram. It is very important because if you know about this tree diagram, actually you can do up to 100 parameters. Okay, it's easy for you. What is a tree diagram? Okay, so now on top of your tree you have Z. Okay, you have Z, and under the Z you have two branches, which is X and Y. Please write down only the variable, not the function. Maksudnya bila tulis, jangan tulis X kuasa 2 dengan Y. Tulis X dengan Y saja sebab kita nak menentukan variable saja. Okay, and then under X there will be T, under Y there also variable T, not the T squared, not the T to the power of 3. Okay, so if you want to find dz dt, so actually you only connect all the diagram from Z until T. From Z until T. Okay, if you have more branches, connect all the branches together. Okay, now the same branches here you have to multiply. The same branches you have to multiply. The different branches you have to plus. Okay, tambah. Apa yang you nak multiply dan tambah ni? Okay, you have to differentiate the upper variable with respect to the lower variable. Okay, upper kat sini ada bukan upper tau, atas, upper. Okay, yang atas ni you ada z kan, so del z del x. Okay, multiply with dx dt plus del z del y multiply with dy dt. Okay, so if you can determine this formula, so the formula is actually unique. Dia tak sama lah untuk semua soalan. Okay, because it depends on the question, it depends on the variable. Okay, if you can write down this formula, you already got 1 mark for yourself. Okay. Okay, so what is del z del x? So del z del x is you want to differentiate z with respect to x, leaving y as constant. So y sekarang ni attach dengan x kuasa 2 kan? So tulis balik y tu dulu. Dan bezakan x kuasa 2 tu dapatlah 2x. Okay, now you don't want to differentiate the x with respect to t pula. Dan x tu memang ada variable t sahajalah. Okay, so bezakanlah keseluruhan, you akan dapat negative 2t. Okay, the power bawa ke depan and then tolak 1 dapatlah negative 2t. Plus, differentiate z now with respect to y. So the x squared will be constant. Tulislah siap-siap. Okay, differentiate y, there will be 1. Okay, and then differentiate the y, dy dt will have 6t to the power of 2. So everything will be xyt plus 6x squared t squared. Okay, you multiply whichever you can multiply. Contoh macam 2 dengan negatif 2 tu boleh darab dapat negatif 4. 6 semua tu boleh darab dapatlah macam tu. Okay, now you may leave your answer here. Okay, you may leave your answer here. However, To get the answer in the answer sheet, actually, you have to substitute back the value of x and y with the variable t. So -4, your x is -2 squared, y is 2 to the power of 3 times t plus -t squared lagi, and then times t squared. Okay, so yang ini dia akan dapat 14t kuasa 6. Okay, that's how the answer in the answer sheet obtained lah. 8 tambah 6 dapatlah 14. Okay, I show you B sebab B ni macam susah sikit. Dia ada loan tapi you have to proceed Okay, so again, three diagram first. You have Z. Okay, under Z you have X and Y. Variable X and Y ada. Bawah X ada T, bawah Y ada T. So when the question asks you to find dz dt, so it is del Z del X times dx dt plus del Z del Y times dy dt. Okay, so this is where the loan comes, the differentiation of the loans. Now you want to differentiate Z respect to X. Okay, your X attached to the function loan. Okay, you have to differentiate loan first. Differentiate loan dapat apa? 1 per kan? Apa-apa loan ni dia jadi 1 per. Katalah differentiate loan X, d over dx. So you'll get 1 over X. Okay, so that the default differentiation for loan. So you have 1 over everything lah. X plus 3y squared. Okay, sebab you nak differentiate loan saja dahulu. And then you darab, you bezakan kuasa pula. Jangan beza dalam lagi. Jangan bezakan dalam lagi. You beza kuasa dulu sebab you ada kuasa 2 kan. So beza kuasa you akan dapat 2x plus 3y squared. 2 minus 1, 1 lah. Okay, and then you darab lagi baru you bezakan dalam. The x plus 3y squared. Pada mana ni? Okay, dx plus 3y squared respect to x. So yang akan dapat 1, 3y kuasa 2 tu dah jadi kosong lah sebab dia constant. So semua kosong. Darab, differentiate x respect to t. So 1 over 2 t negative 1 over 2. Tambah z respect to y. So sekali lagi lon dahulu. And then kuasa. And then baru bezakan dalam terhadap y. So the x will be 0. The 3y squared will be 6y. Times differentiate y respect to t 1 over 4. T negative 3 over 4. Okay, so actually ini dengan ni boleh potong. 1 dengan 2 ni pun boleh potong. This one with this one everything can be cut out as well. Yang ini dengan ni boleh darab which is 12y, they become 12y. Tapi 12 dengan 4 ni pun boleh potong jadi 3y. Okay. So actually what's left is 1 over square root t x plus 3y squared. Okay, dah tak ada dah ke atas. Plus atas 3y over t 3 over 4 x plus 3y squared. Okay, so this one you may proceed. Find the 1 over t. How to find the 1 over t? Substitute this x and y, this x and y, this y as well with this function. Okay. Okay, question number 2, I think you can try for yourself. Okay, so actually in W you have X, you have Y, you have Z. Okay, now there are 3 variables. in X you have T, in Y you have T, in Z also you have T. So when the question asks you to find dw dt, so semua ni lah sebab dia ada 3, so dia mesti ada 3 equation yang attached tu. So del W del X. So that's why I said if you master this tree diagram, okay, bagilah berapa banyak parameter pun or variable pun, you still have you still can answer the question lah. Okay, so you may try. Okay, question number 3, 4, 5, and 6 is application problem. Okay, let's see the application problem. At what rate is the volume of a box changing? If its length is 5 feet and decreasing, okay, box. Let's say you have box macam ni kan. Okay, so macam mana kira volume box ni? Kalau you ada length, height and width. So L, W, H lah kan. Okay, lebar darab, panjang darab, tinggi. Okay, so okay, dia kata length apa ni, what is the volume? Okay, so dia suruh cari find dv dt if L equals to 5, dl dt equals to -4. Kenapa negatif? Sebab dia kata decreasing kan, so negatif. And then W equals to 3 and dw dt is equals to 3 juga, okay. And then H equals to 2 and dH dt equals to 1. So this is the informations given, all the informations given. So means you buat tree diagram, dalam V awak ada L, ada W, ada H kan. Dalam L tu ada T tadi, dalam W ada T, dalam H ada T. Okay, so you nak cari dv dt ni, so you kena cari dv dl times with dl dt plus del v tadi L W pula, so dw dt plus H pula. Okay, so this one and this one you find from the equation. Okay, and then this one and this one you find from the information given. Okay, so kita buat bezakan V terhadap L, then my W is constant, my H is constant. Okay, L kuasa L beza dapat 1. dl dt dia dah bagi negatif 4. Tambah bezakan V terhadap W, then I have L H. Okay, and then dw dt is 3 plus differentiate V with respect to H, I will have L and W. Then my dH dt is given as 1. Okay, so now you substitute this value pula. L equals to 5, W equals to 3, and H equals to 2. So 3 times 2 times -4 plus 5 times 2 times 3 plus 5 times 3 times 1. Then you'll get your answer as 21. Okay. This is question number 3. Now you might try question number 4. I'll give you the chain rule and the information, then you may try. So given PV equals to 80, use chain rule to find the rate at which, okay, so the question asks you to find rate at which the pressure. So dP over dt lah, the pressure, when T equals to 120, and then increasing dt ni increasing at the rate of 0.2, and then volume equals to 40 and increasing juga dV dt equals to 0.15. Okay, so kita nak jadikan P sebagai subjek, so P will be 80 over V. So in our tree diagram, we have T and V. Okay, in under T you have T, and under T V you have T as well. So dP dt is actually del P over del T times dt dt. So again, this one is given, plus del P del V times dV dt. Okay, so this one and this one is given here and here. Okay, so and this one is this one you find from equation. Okay, you may try. Oh, sorry, this is actually question number 5. Okay, this is question number 5. Question number 4 is here. Suppose that the portion of a tree is right circular cylinder. So right circular cylinder, and the height is this height as portion is squeezing. So given this is h, dh dt is equals to 3 inches per year, and diameter dd dt, let's say this is diameter d, is increasing 2 inches per year. How fast is the volume? Okay, so the question asks you to find dV dt when the height, when h is equals to 40 and d is equals to 10. So the volume of a right circular cylinder is pi r squared h, right? Okay, so the information given is in terms of diameter. So you may change your equation into diameter, or you may change this one into radius, which is if dd over dt is equals to 2, then dr over dt is equals to 1. If d equals to 10, then r will be equals to 5. Okay, because you know that d equals to 2r. Okay. Okay, so to find dV dt, so you actually have to find del V over del R times dr dt plus del V over del H times dH dt. Pi is not a variable. Pi is actually a constant, because pi kalau you tekan calculator you dapat 3.142 point tu. So it is actually a constant, bukan variable. So this dr dt and dH dt is given. And then this one and this one is differentiate from here. So again, you may try. Question 6. Two straight rods intersect at right angles. Katalah rod pertama, rod kedua intersect at right angles kat sini. So ini boleh denoted as XY plane, X and Y. Lori A, katalah sini lori A. Okay, lori A ni dia move on the one of the rods approaches the intersection F. So dH dt untuk lori A tu adalah 50 miles per hour. Lori B pula kat sini. Okay, dia datang menghala pada Y. So dy dt sama dengan 20. At what rate is the distance? So dia suruh cari the distance. Katalah kita denote distance as d. dd, find dd dt. If when A is 3 mile, A tadi X, if X equals to 3 and B is 4 mile, B tadi apa? Y. So ini B So Y equals to 4 from the intersection. So distance untuk kedua-dua lori ni kita kira yang inilah kan. Okay, which is the hypotenuse, okay, in between that. Kalau dia semakin hampir, maksudnya distance dia semakin berkurang kan. Okay, depends. Okay, so inilah yang kita nak cari distance. Okay, so if you have something like this, so saya ambil bawa keluar. Ini kan tadi distance yang saya nak. This is X, this is Y. So my D is actually X squared plus Y squared square root. Okay, so you use this formula to differentiate your D with respect to X or D with respect to Y. So d over dt is actually del d over del x times dx dt plus del d over del y times dy dt. So again, this one and this one is from the formula. Okay, differentiate respect to x and respect to y, leaving the other variables as constant. And then the dx dt and dy dt is from this information. Okay, lastly, question number 8. Z equals to x squared exponent xy, x plus y. So in your true diagram, you have x and y. And then your x have r cos theta and y equals to r sin theta. So in your x, you have r theta. In your y also you have r and theta. Okay, so to find del z del r, so you have to find del z del x times del x del r plus del z del y times del y del r. Okay, you may try. And again, for del z del theta as well, it is del z del x times del x del theta plus del z del y times del y del theta. Okay, remember, if the question gives you r equals to 1, theta equals to pi over 3, you have to find x and y. To substitute the value as well. Okay? So, means your r is r cos theta 1 cos pi over 3, which is 0.5, and then your y is r sine pi over 3, which is square root 3 over 2. So substitute this into the equation. Okay, so it's been 1 hour and a half lately. So I guess everyone's now